Goldberg, Donovan Mitchell, and Kevin Durant. These are just three of many super stud athletes that have contracted COVID-19. You may have known this already, but did you know that Paulo Dybala, Argentine soccer superstar, has contracted the virus 4 different times? It is for reasons like this that I believe that the NCAA and any other college entity should go on to cancel sports for the remainder of the year, as it is what's safest for the athletes, the students, and the nation as a whole. The issue brought today here is one of public health, one of life and death, one that's keeping us from a probable second outbreak, and it is one that should be taken serious. First, we'll look at what opening sports does and who it affects most. Secondly, we'll look at the logistics and consequences behind opening sports and how it may affect the nation as a whole and the consequences it may leave nation or nationally. And finally, we'll study why canceling sports and how we do this and why it's the best plan going forward. So opening sports, who does it affect most? Obviously the athlete, as COVID-19 may not kill young and healthy people like college athletes, but they're still likely to get it and contract it without even knowing. So let's look at this. What's the plan going forward for opening sports? Well, they're trying to get rid of La Liga, the Champions League, and any other sporting agency, MLB, NBA. What they're trying to do is get rid of any unnecessary contact pregame. For example, handshakes, the pregame coin toss-up and pictures with the referee. This is all trying to be revoked, as contact is how you contract COVID or any other virus. But doing this really does nothing when you take into consideration that the athletes will be exposed to contact and the breaking of social distancing for an hour plus. What exactly does breaking the pregame handshake do when I will be bumping into my partner repeatedly for an hour? It really does nothing. Second, let's study what the trainers there do. The trainers are there by law, by the NCAA. They have to be there at sporting events, which is typically a good thing. But when you take into consideration that the ratio of athlete to trainer is 1 to 10 athletes per trainer, it really has you think of it a different way. A trainer is likely to treat about 3 to 4 injuries per game. Say someone gets a turf burn, they need that treated and closed up. Then a different player sprains their ankle, they need that taped up. And a player gets their ankle or their shoulder popped out of place, they need that checked up. Now a trainer has touched 3 different players who were sweating during a game and who have all different germs, one an open wound, another one that needed it taped, and one that needed popping back into place. This isn't really the most sanitary thing to do outside of a medical facility without the sanitary protocols that injury to injury from different person may require. So now that we've seen how athletes themselves may be likely to contract the coronavirus, let's see how they impact society. So in a regular schedule, athletes are faced or required to travel around for around half of that schedule. So one weekend I will be in San Jose, and 2 weeks later I'll probably be in Fresno. If I've contracted COVID-19, I may not even know it because the side effects may be so minor to me. And if I don't know it, this is really dangerous because I will be traveling different cities, coming into contact with different people at hotel rooms, at restaurants, at bathrooms, and I may not even know it. I may not even know I have the virus, but I may bump into an elderly man at a bathroom and give him the virus simply because I had to travel for a match. Secondly, in your inner circle, you will come across older people at all times, as college athletes still live at home for the most part. I come home to my parents and I play soccer for Delta. Here, I'm in contact with 40 and 50-year-olds at all times. My grandma that lives across the street, I see her every week. And if I'm sick because I played at a match and I don't know it, she may react differently and probably will react differently to the way my young body will. And this is how the spreading would go about and how the second outbreak would go. So now that we've seen how society would be affected, let's see what you do going forward. Going forward in canceling sports, the way you should treat it is the same way it's being treated now. We still have to virtually submit our workouts to prove that we are keeping in shape, and that's the way we get our units because sports are considered a class. So that's how you keep your scholarships going on as you're still enrolled in the program and proving that you are taking part in the workouts that you're required to do. And once the vaccine comes out, if it comes out in July, then fall sports are the first to resume. If it comes out in February, spring sports are the ones to resume, and you just nullify the eligibility year for the sports that couldn't do it. So if fall sports were mandated to be canceled, then you nullify the season for the athletes, as that's not fair to them. Now that we've analyzed how athletes are affected personally and how society is affected by it, and the plan going forward to canceling sports, let's keep in mind that as an athlete myself, the last thing I want to do is not play. The ball has been my friend, my only friend at many times. But at this point in life, I would much rather not play and keep a real friend alive because I don't have coronavirus.